Thanks again for joining me here for the Daily Bread Bible Study. This is day 116 for Saturday, April 25th, 2020, focusing on 2 Kings 22 and 23. As devotion to God is shaky in the only remaining nation of Judah, the people of God turn to a young king for leadership. Beginning his reign at the age of 8, King Josiah proves people of any age can listen and obey God. Under his leadership, the house of the Lord is inventoried and repairs are planned. That is till the priest Hilkiah has some additional surprising news. In 2 Kings 22:8, Hilkiah says, "I found the book of the law in the house of the Lord." This book is read before King Josiah, and in verse 11 it says, "When the king heard the words of the book of the law, he tore his clothes," because he knew they were not following them. He has the leaders of Judah inquire of the Lord, and the Lord states a few things, namely that 1, disaster is imminent because the people have abandoned God, and 2, King Josiah has shown his love to me, so I will let him live his days in peace. We get there in 2 Kings 23, and King Josiah could just sit in this assurance from God, as King Hezekiah was happy to do. King Hezekiah could live out his days in peace, and so can King Josiah, but instead, Josiah leads the whole of Judah into a reformation and repentance towards God. Now, King Josiah does a few notable things. In fact, a lot of notable things. He educates the people by reading the book of the law in front of them. He reinstates a similar covenant to Moses, in which all the people join into. He removes Baal worship from the land, and especially the Temple of Solomon, and worship of other gods as well, too. He kills priests associated with false worship. He eliminates idols, and he reobserves the Passover meal. For, as we learn in 2 Kings 23:22, no such Passover had been kept since the days of the judges who judged Israel, or during the days of the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, this Passover was kept to the Lord in Jerusalem. The Passover, the central thing, the thing that Moses said and say, this is the visible thing that will help instruct your children and to know, why that we were slaves in Egypt and God led us out of this Egypt with a mighty hand and a strong arm. And this was the story that they were supposed to tell and instruct their children and, talk about it all the time. But yet that story had not been told and the Passover had not been observed. And so, thus, they turn back and observe the Passover. Huge. All these changes will be important for the life of Judah, yet it will not stop the upcoming destruction of the nation. Jerusalem will be destroyed. King Josiah ultimately dies at the hands of Egypt, just as Israel never quite escapes the influence of Egypt. His son, King Jehoahaz, takes over and is again pushed out by the Pharaoh in Egypt. The Pharaoh actually enslaves Jehoahaz and makes his brother Eliakim a puppet in Jerusalem. Now the author states that Pharaoh renames Eliakim to Jehoiakim, and Pharaoh enslaves Judah for a short time. Now this enslavement will end soon, though not as one might expect. The consequences of their forefathers will come to pass, and exile is imminent. On a positive note, though, this will be the last time in the Bible that Egypt will be a threat to the people of God. We will see why this is the case next